For the latest news impacting southeastern Ohio, I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Nick Veland.
Athens City Council could bring back mask requirements on Tuesday.
Here's what plans to be passed at Monday's council meeting. Growing concern over Athens County's rising cases will bring an indoor mask mandate to Monday's agenda. Mayor Steve Patterson hopes to move the proposed ordinance along quickly.
Likely seek suspension of the rules to get it passed and out there. And again, what it will mean is that both vaccinated and unvaccinated people will be required to wear a face covering when entering into places open to the public.
Recently passed Senate Bill 22 in Ohio wouldn't allow health organizations to require mask mandates. The Athens law director says the city can.
So we as a statutory city certainly can examine what's going on in our city and make a decision as to the public health and safety of the city's residents.
If the ordinance passes, Athens City Council member and Donkey Coffee manager Ben Ziff says customers will have to abide by the new rules.
I mean, if you don't have one on, you can't come in. I mean, that's all there is to it, realistically. And I'm sure we're going to get some people who are upset about that. And I will be as kind as I can possibly be. But if you don't have one on, you can't come in. And that's the way that the language in the bill reads as of now. So that's what we're going to be saying.
Athens previously lifted its mask mandate for vaccinated individuals in May, but if passed, this amendment will now cover everyone. Running under Schaefer Street between Bayard and West State is a storm tunnel at risk of collapsing. Athens Service Safety Director Andy Stone said the time is ticking to get the tunnel replaced.
It's urgent enough that we need to act this year. And if you backward plan from when the asphalt plants shut off because of winter, I would need to get it done and paved back prior to November 15th. You know, it will be fine as long as we're not having major rain events. But if I have a major rain event, you know, I think the potential is there for a collapse between now and then.
Athens City Council rushed the project through approval to start accepting bids for the $600,000 tunnel replacement. The construction of the tunnel beneath me may be costly to the taxpayers, but according to Stone, it's a solution that will last for many years to come.
This ultimately will, you know, ideally this will make it last another 70 years. I mean, if you look at, or actually I think 90 years probably, if you're looking at the age of that existing tunnel. But it drains a significant portion of the west side, so, you know, it's a pretty important part of city infrastructure.
Once the work starts, construction crews will attempt to keep traffic flowing with at most one lane of traffic being closed. For Newswatch, I'm Nick Veland.
This month, 40 buildings across America will receive part of a $3 million to preserve African-American landmarks. One of them is in Athens. Nick Veland has more on how the money will be spent.
Mount Zion Baptist Church in Athens was founded in 1872 and is the last remaining Black-owned historic building along the southeastern Ohio River Valley's Underground Railroad corridor. The Mount Zion Baptist Church Preservation Society now plans to restore and repurpose the building as a regional Black artistic, cultural, and economic hub. Brent Leggs, the executive director for the African American Cultural Heritage Fund, said that Mount Zion was one of around 100 proposals that was selected for funding since 2018.
A couple of reasons that we selected Mount Zion. It was really beautiful to see how diverse the organization was, and they have a beautiful vision for reusing that historic space as a center for arts, culture, and technology. And it really, I think, has the potential to be a national model once they complete this project.
This funding will allow Mount Zion to start the restoration from the ground up. Dr. T. Ford Amon, Mount Zion's communications director, says this funding will rehabilitate the basement.
We're so excited. The basement will be kind of like the ground place for developing hangouts for students. We'll have an educational center there and other kinds of happenings there in terms of providing community activities and support.
Hearing this funding will start the restoration makes it special for Dr. T. Ford Amon, who has a deep history with the church.
How is passion during my graduate degree? That was the mid-90s. I attended there. My daughter was a student at Athens High School, basketball player as a matter of fact, and she sang in the choir. When I say passion, I mean that with all sincerity.
For Newswatch, I'm Nick Veland.
This funding is the first step of a $4 million project to fully restore the church in the coming years.
Ohio University has had many Cinderella stories in its history. Now some players from the 2012 team that went dancing to the Sweet 16 hope to make another run, this time with $1 million on the line. The TBT is a 64-team tournament made up of former college basketball players, and for the first time, Ohio 1804 will represent Ohio University alumni who wanted to get in on the action this year.
And represent our university as best as we can. Go out there and compete together as one, play as a team, and make Bobcat Nation proud. That's all we want to do.
The tournament gives Bobcat fans another chance to root for players like Reggie Keeley, Stevie Taylor, and Nick Kellogg, a throwback to the team that upset Michigan and South Florida in the 2012 NCAA tournament. GM Kenny Brown says that the fan base was one of the reasons why he wanted to build the team.
To kind of do this because I know and you know and all Bobcat Nation knows that there is a immense love and for the school and anything green and white and Bobcat related. So I knew that I could get the body to rally behind it.
The love is returned by the players who decided to suit up.
Alma mater, I owe a lot to OU, and it's actually an honor just to be able to play with them in the TBT.
Going into the tournament, the Bobcats are in a familiar spot. They sit as the 14 seed. And Kenny Brown says that this is just another chance for Ohio 1804 players to make some history.
A lot of these guys have been here before, that exact number seed, and they understand what it takes.
The road to the $1 million prize will be long, but Ohio 1804 hopes it ends with a trip down memory lane.
I'm sure that a party bus to Athens the night after, straight from Dayton in the championship, would not be, I could almost guarantee that that's going to happen.
For Newswatch, I'm Nick Veland.
For the first time in 20 years, Lancaster will have a new head football coach. Nick Veland reports on how the new coach is fitting in so far.
Rob Carpenter retired in November. It ended a 23-season career as head coach at Lancaster High School. Brian Schoonover, assistant coach for the Golden Gales from 2010 to 2012, has returned to lead Lancaster, and he said he has some big shoes to fill.
Coach Carpenter's a legend. He's a guy that he is Lancaster football. He is blue and gold. He is the representation of what this program is and will always be, and that's a tough, hard-nosed, energy guy who's team first, kid first, and just trying to carry that on and build off it my own way a little bit are kind of the things that I'm just trying to do personally, but no pressure now.
Schoonover comes from being head coach at Groveport for 7 seasons and knows what it takes to get players on the winning mentality.
When you come to practice and what you preach is what you do, kids see that and they kind of feed off of it, and it's been fun.
From the player's perspective, the change is just as noticeable, and the impact it has on the offseason is major.
Momentum switch. Everyone has a lot more pride in playing for Lancaster. Everyone's playing harder, faster. Everyone's trying to grow instead of just getting through practice and getting it done. Everyone's putting 100% throughout the whole practice. So I think that's the biggest impact he has on our team so far.
And Schoonover has a strict policy whenever he sees the energy isn't there.
Comes into a room and it's quiet, he walks out and comes back in and is like, I need to hear something. Every time he walks in a room, we're always clapping. We're sitting in the locker room waiting for the final meeting on the out. He walks in, we all cheer. It's just a ton of energy that he brings, whether he does it himself or just we feed it off of him.
For Newswatch, I'm Nick Veland.
The Golden Gales are busy preparing for their opening game against Pickerington North on August 20th.